Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 194 of the Landy Lodge podcast. This episode was recorded on September 16th at the Reconnect event in Dallas, Texas. So, before I let this episode roll, I just want to give out some thank yous. First and foremost, much love and major shout out to KH Guides, Mrs. KH Guides, and the whole Reconnect committee for not only putting on this event, but inviting me to do a live Landy Lodge podcast. Also want to give much love and major shout out to the guests on the panel, that being Damo, BioRoxas, Felicia, and RoyalAqua. I got all their links in the episode description. Make sure you follow these amazing creators. As you'll see in this episode, they are a wealth of Kingdom Hearts knowledge, hot takes, and overall good vibes. I also want to give a lot of love and major shout out to all of you, the sickos, the normies, the sages, for all of your love and support during the Million Streams Awards. The Landy Lodge came home with the Theory and Lore Award. I'll be uploading my acceptance speech onto the channel within the next day or two. But again, so much love to all of you for sending your support my way. I am in your debt. I promise to elevate my content even further for all of you. But I also want to give a shout out and a thank you to my fellow nominees, those being Damo, Keycast, KH Nyctophiliac, and the Violent Howler. All of you deserve that award just as much, if not more, than I did. And I thank you all for playing your part in elevating the art and content of this community even further. But anyway, without further ado, let's roll on with the next episode of the Landy Lodge podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to day 2 of Kingdom Hearts Reconnect. Before we get rolling, I think some thank yous are in order. So first and foremost, if we could just get a big round of applause for Guides, Mrs. Guides, and the whole committee for putting this event together and bringing us all together. And so listen, this is just an open conversation between everybody here on the stage. We're just going to talk about a few things from the Kingdom Hearts series, and let's get this underway. So it's tradition at the Lodge that when it's somebody's first time on the podcast, is a mandatory question. And the question is, for the two over here, both Aqua and Demo, why Kingdom Hearts? All the series you could be making content for, all the series you could have fallen in love with, countless franchise out there, why was this the one that caught your eye?
Playable Mexico.
So pretty fun? Pretty fun. Where else do you get it from?
I think it's just the puzzle of it all and the way everything fits together so nicely. And how many series get to go on for so long like this with this continually awesome running narrative, characters that people can't help but fall in love with, and amazing gameplay, amazing music, just every part of it seems to fit so well, and then you have this community that supports it, loves it, wants to make cool content for it, and how can you not?
Yeah.
How can you not want to join in the fun?
Yeah, I mean, Disney first and foremost. I mean, I was always a huge Disney fan, and that definitely drew me into the series, and then stuck around the characters. There's so many characters to love, so many different ways to love them. They're all so unique and different in their own way, and they just drew me in, and you get introduced to more and more throughout the story, and I just kept wanting to know more, and just the theming of friendship, and then of course, once I started streaming it and making content, just getting to know all of the community and everything really kind of like keeps you. The community is just so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this event is a, example of just that. So, let's move over here now to you guys. Bio, why don't we start with you? Which, by the way, so I went to like 3 donut shops this morning trying to get to a plain donut, and I couldn't find one anywhere.
Someone actually brought me donuts this morning, and they told me they special ordered them, and they had to get into like a fighting match with the people, because they were like, I want a plain donut. They're like, you want glaze on that? And they're like, no, I don't want glaze. They're like, glaze is a plain donut. And I was like,
not today.
Not today. So I guess they got in a fight, and they got their plain donuts because they brought them to me. So thank you. I think it was Austin Dojin. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So, let's talk about, if there was one thing in the Kingdom Hearts series that any of you hope never changes, what's one of the first things that comes to mind?
That never changes.
That never changes. Kingdom Hearts 7 comes around and it's still there. So let's go with that. You don't think the series could ever move on to another protagonist? You think it's got to be Sora through and through to the end?
I kind of would like to be in a way because I think it would be cool to see him grown up because we've seen him at such a young age, a young boy, and now we've seen him like grow as the series has gone on. So it'd be cool to grow up with Sora.
Mm-hmm.
So I do love like one of my favorite Kingdom Hearts games is Birth by Sleep. I love like exploring stories of other characters like Terra, Aqua, Ventus, and Roxas, and I like the idea that we get to explore those stories of other characters, but I think for like the main number titles, I think it's kind of always got to be Sora, unless like, I don't know, another 20, 40 years down the line, he like passes down the torch to another character or something, maybe could be cool, but I think, yeah, keeping Sora in the series is pretty special.
I always had this idea of, so if we look at Birth by Sleep, right, it's very much like darkness good, yeah. Light good, right? And darkness bad. And then as Sora and Riku come into play, like they realize that is that me? I'm so sorry. I'm also trying to just destroy your eardrums this morning. Right, and so as Sora and Riku come in, it's like very much, darkness and light are two sides of the same coin. And so I think it'd be a really cool dynamic where we shift back to that very absolute, like, light is good, darkness is bad kind of thing, and see like how that plays out. So, yeah.
And how about over here?
Over here? For me, it's got to be the quote-unquote complicated narrative to the whole thing. I think, like, if it was super straightforward and super easy to follow, people would get bored by now, right? They'd be like, yeah, okay. Light wins every single time, cool. But you've got to have a bit of mystery to it. You've got to have that long, you never get all the answers, and if you do get a handful of answers, you get double the amount of questions the next time. It's always something to think about for the next time. The community gets massively engaged, and theories are flying left, right, and center.
So let me ask you, the Kingdom Hearts series ended, and there were still a bunch of unanswered questions. Do you think that would be on brand, keep us talking forever, or do you want everything solved by the end?
I'm just still stuck on that first part. If the Kingdom Hearts series ends, I can't quite grasp what I might do with myself should that happen. But yeah, I think you'd want to have at least most things wrapped up in a satisfying way. Maybe a couple little lingering mysteries to sort of just, you can interpret them how you want to. Maybe there's no definitive answer for a couple things, but let's get most of them answered, sure.
I feel like everyone already gave really good answers. I mean, really just the aspect of friendship and like keeping that alive and how close everyone gets. Now we have like all of these different groups all together and they're all really combining and all becoming friends, whereas we were kind of like split into like trios and stuff before. So yeah, I would just say keeping that friendship and compassion alive, and that, Sora is very just like willing to make friends with anyone, like as soon as he meets them. So that like spirit of just bringing that in.
Yeah, I can vibe with that. All right, let's get into maybe some discourse, maybe a hot take or two. What's everybody's most underrated character in the series and why? I can say for me, I know it's Kairi.
Yeah.
For me, I actually think Kairi's a pretty underrated character. I think more often than not, people try to measure her character by her ability to wield a Keyblade and often look over all of her accomplishments through the Darkseeker saga. She saved Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1, saved Sora and Riku in Kingdom Hearts 2, saved all of existence itself in Kingdom Hearts 3. Now again, we want that to be fleshed out more. We'd like a little bit more detail. But again, I just think, personally, I think she's a great character. I'm excited to see what comes next. And I think she's relatively underrated.
I agree. Sorry, I realised my mic wasn't on earlier. I think a few of us partied a bit too hard last night. I think mine is actually, if it counts, Donald and Goofy. I think they are, come on, Donald and Goofy, love, come on, let's go. Well, they're the trio. They're the best friends of Sora. They're there throughout Sora's journey, and they've grown so much with Sora. And yeah, I just think it would be so different now going into 4 without them two. Obviously, they're still going to be in the story, but we wonder whether they're going to be with Sora at the beginning of 4, be the party members. But the three points are not together at the start, at least. So, and it's really, really special how their bond has become such a thing, and they've like gone throughout the whole journey together and all these other games and stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be a very different dynamic, I think, going into 4 with Sora not being with Donald and Goofy, and I'm really interested to see how that plays. And I think even just like having them in the party and their strengths as in their abilities is quite underrated. Like, Goofy's so caring, he's got a very good heart. Donald is just hilarious, and I'm a Team Donald fan. So, yeah, I think they're very underrated in just their characters and their places in the story, I think they're my answer for that.
I would, like, I keep trying to, like, think of a character. I keep coming back to Xion, actually.
Okay.
That was my thought as well.
More, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking through it, and we really get like a snapshot of who that is, right? And so I would love to see more of like unpacking who Xion is as a character, rather than just like we need to go save her or we need to figure out where she is. Because a lot of that is I need to go find her, and then we find out that she's a puppet. And so like there's no growth in that character a lot besides like right at the end where they kind of dump everything. Like she does want to be a real person, that's why she's holding on, but also like she cares about bringing Sora back, and so she's giving herself up. But I think it'd be cool to see like, okay, now that she has come back, like who is she, right? Like outside of Sora.
And you said Xion as well?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, Xion sacrificed herself to, be able to bring him back. So I think that Xion is a much deeper character than we give her credit for.
Mm-hmm.
We always have the joke, who's that? But Xion really is super precious, I think, and I think that she's going to have hopefully a bigger role to come.
I could say the token obvious expected answer from me and say anyone from Union Cross because no one knows anything about them or who they are. Like, who? What's that guy? Who? I mean, okay, let's just have Brain for an example, the guy who single-handedly figured out something's going on here. Mm-hmm. There's a whole Master of Masters grand scheme. I'm going to, alone, try and reverse engineer this and figure it out and get my own solution out of this thing. And of course, the token answer is Said, who did absolutely nothing wrong the entire time. But most people in this room seem to agree with that. So,
awesome. Okay, now something a little bit more, I guess, easier question to answer. Who's everybody's favorite character? If you had to pick one. Whole series, and why?
If it isn't obvious, Aqua.
Well, gee, why Aqua?
I have no idea. No, but I just think Aqua is just such an amazing character. Like, I obviously fell in love with her very, very quickly, and my username was named after her. If you didn't know that. But she just cares so much, and I mean, I think of the fact that, when she was pulled out of the darkness, mm-hmm. her immediate thought went to Ben. She's like, I don't even care to like rest up and like prepare myself again. She's like, I need to get my friends. I need to immediately go and do that. And she just, I don't know, just something about her is so amazing. And she's almost like the mom of the group, Blueberry Mom. And I don't know, I feel like I really resonate with her. And yeah, I've just loved her ever since the beginning, since I met her.
What do you hope the Lost Masters arc has in store for her? Obviously, we know she's going to train Kairi, but this being your favorite character, what's something you want to see from her? In what ways do you want to see her grow?
Yeah. I don't know. I want to see just more of her. I think her being able to train Kairi is going to bring out a different side of her as well. I mean, we have seen her be like I said, kind of like the mom of the group, but I think that will bring out like a really different kind of powerfulness in her, and I think like she could be playing a very important role, and she's going back to the realm of darkness. Mm-hmm. She is a very strong character. She is going to be, I think, a very important role to Terra and Ben in the realm of darkness as well. I think she's going to be the leader for them. She's like, I have been here. I've done this. You will be okay. You're going to hear these voices and these thoughts and all these things, but you're going to make it through, and I will be here for you.
Great answer. How about you?
Last night on the card, I answered Terra. It was like spur of the moment. I was like, I guess I like my boy Terra. I got to give it up for him. I don't know, just his entire journey from, I don't know, he's seen as like maybe the oldest one of that group and sort of feels this internal pressure to perform and, okay, I've got to do the best here. And perhaps that's what is kind of the link or one of the reasons why he strays a little bit and realizing that power of darkness and then is led astray by these, you know, obviously Xehanort comes in and goes, I'll take that. Thank you. And I don't know, just he's eternally fighting for redemption and he constantly feels like he's screwing up and it's only through, you know, finally we get to 3 and it's his friends that have lit his way home. And yeah, I don't know, I just really like that entire journey.
How would you respond to those that think he's an idiot?
Yeah, where's Treehouse? Where's the, there he is. Hey,
you rock up to a world, and if you're Sora, you immediately meet the protagonist of a Disney film, and they're talking animal companions, and you have a wonderful adventure the entire time. If you're Terra, you meet the villain of the film, and immediately are scooped along for the same ride. It's like, they're not really that different at the end of the day. It's just the influences upon them that kind of steer them in different directions. Sora could have easily gone the same way. I don't think he's an idiot so much as just wrong place, wrong time.
And he's still a kid. You know?
At the end of the day.
Oh, was he like 18 in Birth by Sleep?
Something like that.
I've done dumber things.
Done dumber things. Last night in bed.
Well, also, like, we don't really know his backstory, right? Because Ericus is deaf. Like, I don't think he's actually his dad, right?
What?
Yeah, I know, right? Crazy. But this idea that, like, he has been isolated on this island, right? Like, training to be a Keyblade wielder. And I see some, like, likening to, like, there's a lot of like Christian allegories that people try to like pull out of Kingdom Hearts sometimes, right? And I see that most often with Birth by Sleep and the fact of like if you grow up not even like Christian but like in a religious environment, right, where you're kind of trained up to be part of this sect of people, a lot of times that is very isolating and we're very much like not in tune with like the real world. And so then you get out into the real world, right? And you're kind of innocent and naive. And so I think Terra actually paints a really good picture of like, okay, he's been isolated, he's been alone, and he's trying to help people, and people take advantage of that. So yeah, Terra's a good character.
Is he your favorite?
No.
No. So who is?
I don't know. Maybe like Ventus, I think. It's a good character. That was a joke because it's
Trio getting some love. Okay.
Why Ventus?
That was a bit because I have Bioroxis. So I have a very dry sense of humor. I grew up like loving Roxas. I almost said Bioroxis. I grew up
it's good
loving.
To love yourself, buddy.
Yeah, right. But I've been. If some of you guys know, I put out a video about the psychology of Sora, and
go watch it.
Yeah, please
go watch it. Excellent video.
But diving into his character has been really enlightening, and I'm not gonna get up here and talk 40 minutes about it. But just the fact that like Sora is very much just so focused on other people and other people's happiness, so much to the point that it's detrimental to his own. It's something that I find really relatable for a lot of people. I think. And maybe this is naive of me, but I think that at a lot of people's core, right, they want to help people. And so I think that's why so many people resonate with Sora so much is they see that almost like that innocentness, that naiveness of a child. Because as we grow up, right, we get jaded. We start to, you know, see how dark the world really is. And so seeing this character who has gone through so much and still kind of holds on to that naive, like, light-mindedness is really cool. So I'd say Sora right now.
Awesome. And you, Faye?
Mine's Sora too. Pretty much
character.
the same thing as like Byron said. Like Sora is such. I really admire his like emotional intelligence and his empathy and his care for other characters in the games, and the fact that he will go out of his way to help everybody. Mm-hmm. He sometimes puts others before himself. He just keeps he has these like, you know, cheeky moments, and I think we're going to see a different side to him a little bit as the series goes on, maybe a bit more, maybe slightly broken a little bit, but as we've seen him for now, like, it's kind of what Abaya said, like, he just keeps going, like, he just has this determination to just help his friends and see the light of things, and I really relate to that a lot as an individual. I feel like I've actually learned a lot as a person from Sora, because I see in some sort of way myself in him, where I just want to keep positive when, you know, there's like dark moments sometimes, kind of like what Baya said as well, so it's pretty much the same thing. But Sora, I have like other favorite characters as well. Like, I love Aqua a lot, I love Kairi a lot, but yeah, there's just something really honestly special about Sora, so it's got to be him.
Awesome. You know, with what you guys said, I think a lot about what Ansem the Wise said at the end of Dream Drop Distance. Just kidding.
Sorry.
It's okay. But, you know, he talks about Sora's heart is, you know, still uncorrupted. After everything he's been through, he still sees the good before the bad. And I think that's something, you know, all of us can learn from him. Yeah. You know? All right. Disney Worlds. If you could bring one back for Kingdom Hearts 4, what are you bringing back?
Game Central Station.
Let's go. Wreck-It Ralph time. Okay.
Explore in 3D.
Yeah. What do you think they could do with a world like that? Because it's a world based on video games. Like, what do you think they're going to do with that? Is that where the Final Fantasy characters are hanging out? Are we going to see the Twooey gang? Well, what goes on in Game Central Station?
I'm still on my nonsense of that line from Union Cross where Brain is like, there's this weird world we've connected to that doesn't exist in our worlds all the time. And I interpret that as going like, okay, well, is that an unreality world? Is that some sort of crossover fictional world that we've somehow broken into? Mm-hmm. It's a video game, kind of analogous to what, you know, we're getting towards now with the Verum Rex being an in-universe video game. Mm-hmm. Like, there's an unused asset, or semi-unused asset in Union Cross, where the door that Ephema and the player walk through on top of the roof, it's called Union Cross. It's like unioncross.png.
Oh, man.
And all the other ones, like the video games that they walk into, are also, you know, fixandfelix.png, whatever. So it's like, if I ever make content again, I'm going to try and actually do videos on this stuff. Like, yeah, the idea that we potentially have already crossed over into these fictional worlds, it's like the perfect avenue to explore where they potentially are already going.
That and you unlock the Wreck-It Ralph summon after the Verum Rex minigame in KH3, yeah. So yeah,
pretty quick one together.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Who just went? Oh, dude!
I think there's someone down there. I don't know.
It's loud. Yeah, I'm very excited to see this internal nonsense of, like, again, obviously versus 13 potentially getting involved. I'm really excited to see what they do with that.
I want to see a Destiny Islands world. Like, I just want to explore all of it. Like, I want to go to the island. I want to go to the actual, like, mainland. I don't know if it would be like a
classroom minigame, go back to school.
Yeah, right. Well, I think with Kingdom Hearts 4, we're not gonna really like fight Heartless. We're gonna like go to a job, be a barista, and then like learn about taxes. And so I think there'd be some really cool aspects of like going back in time and like seeing Sora learning in classes. No, I'm just kidding. But like, yeah, I think I'd love to see like a Disney Islands world. I don't know if it would be taken over by darkness, but it'd be cool to look through that.
I was actually going to say Enchanted Dominion.
Okay.
Because I think I just want to see more of Maleficent. So I'd love to see, like, so I was just thinking about all the Disney worlds, and we only really saw Enchanted Dominion in Birth by Sleep, and I just really want to see more of Maleficent, basically, and I think it'd be cool to explore the newer graphics of the whole classic Disney films, because I loved, like, Castle Dreams, Dwarf Woodlands. I love exploring those worlds a lot in Birth by Sleep. So I think it'd be cool to see him in like better graphics, but also just get to interact with Maleficent a bit more. Maybe fight her again, perhaps. So,
you think she's making a comeback?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's got to.
She's getting that box.
She's the one that's getting the box. 100%. I think she's the one that's going to get the box, and she's the one that's going to cause chaos. And yeah, I just want her role back in the series to be a bit kind of like how it was in Kingdom Hearts 1, a bit more prominent. So I think I would like to see Enchanted Dominion again, because it's just, we haven't really seen it as much compared to like seeing Agrabah a few times or Halloween Town a few times. So I would like to see it again.
You said Disney worlds. Yeah.
I mean, no, Destiny Islands,
Is it a
Disney
Disney
owns
Island?
Kingdom Hearts. You're okay, buddy. Don't worry. Okay.
I feel like a Lilo and Stitch world could be really fun.
Let's go. Okay.
But like not in space, like on the island.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
okay.
already have like an established relationship with Stitch
Mhm.
through having him as a summon with Sora and the Birth by Sleep trio all have an established relationship with him, and I think it could be really fun to be like fighting the other experiments and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I think that could be really fun and explore the island. Maybe that could be our water world for.
Well, and that idea of like family, right?
Yeah.
And seeing like the Birth by Sleep trio, maybe go to that world and like, see those similar dynamics of like, it's not about like who you're born to, right? But like who is like close to you.
Okay, Kingdom Hearts 4. So what does it got to do to be the best game in the series? What does it got to do? Who said exist?
I have an idea. Okay,
Yeah,
so
well, that's what you're here for.
Yeah. I thought Darryl was going to talk, so I was giving him space. So I'm a combat guy, right? I love everything combat related. I want to see something with the system. I think that we've translated to scrap and build. So the idea of like we're building things and scrapping things as we're kind of creating new weapons, right? So I want to see because there was some like weird translation of something as like, I think it said like jobs. And so my brain was like, I want to see Sora build Final Fantasy jobs and use those. Cause I think that would be a perfect transition from form changes where like we have these like 20 seconds of like, Sora shifting into a form change and some of them were Final Fantasy jobs. Like, High Wind was like a very Dragoon-esque job. But I would love to see him like, become more of a Keyblade master and have these weapons that are actually like long term, where he's shifting into these new styles of play.
It's like Dark Knight Sora.
Yeah, let's go Final Fantasy 14. Yeah.
Monk Sora.
Yeah. We're gonna turn this into a 14 podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to see that. Even though I feel like that combat would not really translate well into Cage 4. It's my dream.
I was just thinking like kind of like a combined effort of like everything that they have already put into the games. There's just different things of each game that they kept trying new things and making it different. And there's like reaction commands. I'm sure a lot of us want reaction commands back. And just, kind of pulling those like favorite elements all together into one. They have now tested it all. And I think like kind of getting those favorites all in together would be just really good.
I feel like 3 did so many things right, but for every like few good steps it took, it did a couple weird little ones. Like the Disney attractions, like it's a cool idea, right? Like in theory, the first thing you see of a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer forever ago is this giant glowing train beating the snot out of a rock tide, and you're like, yeah, awesome, cool. But then there's like no context for it in game whatsoever. I just feel like, and same with the Spellbinders and everything else, like 2 did a better job of kind of integrating the weird things that we can pull off in this game. So I would just like want a kind of return to give us weird, wacky stuff and make it feel kind of like organic with the plot. A couple little lines here and there. It doesn't need to be a massive explanation, but just some sort of reason for doing it. Like you get these really cool powers. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think the way that they implement it, right, is going to be really important.
Yeah.
Because with Cage 3, a lot of it was like, you can do everything, right? But everything had this same level of effectiveness, right? So why would I go into this animation of attraction flow, right? And take like 40 seconds to demolish the enemy when I can just shoot 3 lightnings in 2 seconds and be done.
Same effect.
And so, because our brains are very much like wired for efficiency, right? And so like, if you're playing a game, right? Yes, we want to explore and have fun, but also our brain is like, okay, let's be efficient, right? Let's get through this. So yeah, I'd like to see that too. Just kind of effective implementation of the different mechanics.
I think I've just got to sort of agree with what everyone's been saying, just a little piece of everything. I think what I loved about 3 particularly, I think when you got past San Francisco and you we're in Land of Departure again with like Aqua. I think it'd just be cool to have like a lot of moments where there is like story, but then there's also like a gameplay segment where you gotta fight someone immediately and you're not also prepared for it, and then that could be like the challenge of it. So just sort of like a really good pacing of the Disney World aspects, and I think I kind of would like to see it maybe done a little bit differently this time as well. Not too different from like the core of Kingdom Hearts, but just
maybe kind of break that cookie cutter.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, you have your introduction and it's Disney World, story cutscene.
Yeah.
Disney World, story cutscene. Maybe integrate the Disney Worlds a little more, and maybe like you're saying, have a little bit more back and forth. Because I feel like, you let me know if this is what you were getting on. I feel like Kingdom Hearts too often like really neatly separates original worlds and Disney worlds. You know, you have your pocket of the original worlds in the beginning of the game. Then you go through all the Disney worlds. Then you have the pocket of original worlds at the end.
Yeah.
I would like to see them kind of mix and match a little bit more.
Well, going to KH1, like I feel like KH1 did such a good job of like we're still keeping the through line of like I want to, you know, the Kingdom Hearts characters. And so like instead of just saying like, okay, let's pause the breaks, let's go watch some Disney movies and then we'll come back, right? Like let's keep the narrative through it.
I've been like replaying Kingdom Hearts 1 a lot lately, and I feel like the same. I feel like there's such a love, like the great magic to the original story of Kingdom Hearts 1 and how everything does blend together really well. Like even like having Beast and Belle at Hollow Bastion when a lot of like good stories happening. And yeah, I think just that kind of elements of Kingdom Hearts 1 particularly, especially as like 4 is like the start of a new saga all over again. So, and there was a lot of mystery of 1, like there was so much that we did not know about a lot of things in 1 that then got revealed a lot later, like the Ark, for example. So I would love to go into 4 just having no clue about anything all over again, with like elements of things that we've learned from like Union Cross and 3, but it would be good to just have a lot of brand new mystery again.
Yeah, I would agree.
I can hear regular Pat just laughing maniacally as we talked about KH1. He's like, yes!
To the previous point, I'm almost excited for the future of Kingdom Hearts 4 because I think, and spoilers for anyone who hasn't done Dark Road yet, but Dark Road integrated the Disney worlds really nicely. Like there actually seemed to be a reason to go to each one, and even if there wasn't a super massive reason, they would integrate tiny little plot elements into the overall plot really nicely. Like you go to Wonderland, everyone rolls their eyes and goes, "Oh Christ, why?" But then you find out, oh, it's because we're here to get information that Xehanort can detect darkness in people, and it's not the biggest reason in the world, but it's something. It's a reason to be there. And you don't just turn your brain off and go, "Let me just fast forward through this movie and then get back to the thing I want to see." Each cutscene might reveal something to you. Even the little, like he meets the Mad Hatter and a couple little, I don't even know what they do, but like there's some sort of reference that can be applied to the overall plot there. It's not just a throwaway cutscene for nothing.
Well, I thought it was intense too that Dark Road revealed that the underworld is connected to the final world. Yeah. And that, as we know, the final world can also get you to unreality. Right. So it's almost like there's this through line where everything is connected now that I think gives way to kind of like you're saying, unveil the plot while we're in these Disney worlds, because now we're making these connections to unreality and sort of the more original stuff like the final world. So, yeah. So a little bit off Kingdom Hearts 4 now. Let's talk about Missing Link. We know it's missing.
Which game?
It's never coming out. It's okay. But what are our expectations for it? Both from like a gameplay perspective, because again, this is a mobile game, and while we've had Union Cross and Dark Road, this looks to be very different from the games that we've played before. What are some expectations we have for some of its gameplay and where that story is going to go?
I love that the Keyblades give you different styles of combat. I think that is so fascinating. And also, like, I have a bit of nostalgia for the attack system where, you know, you have different tiers of trophies. So it's like similar to like the bronze, silver, and gold medals from Union Cross. And you can see on the trophies, right, they have different bases, kind of telling like what level of rarity is this. So there's like some nostalgia that I'm looking forward to, but also that new combat that looks really cool.
Well, I know for me, what I would like to see is I want to see in the way that Union Cross, as you kept going through it, built more into Kingdom Hearts 3, even though the time is separated by somewhat of 1,000 years. I'd like to see the same thing with Missing Link. like information that we get unveiled to us in Missing Link, we see it populate in Kingdom Hearts 4. And I think Missing Link's going to run, hopefully if it's a success, it'll run through Kingdom Hearts 4. So that maybe like Union Cross, when you get to the end of Union Cross and you go back to KH3, it kind of builds into it in a way. Because I think the Kingdom Hearts series has a way of doing that in the way that Kingdom Hearts 2 comes out, but then they release Birth by Sleep in 358 over 2 days. And then you go back to Kingdom Hearts 2 and you're like, oh my God, all this means so much more now. I'd like to see Missing Link do that for Kingdom Hearts 4. And as far as gameplay goes, I want it to run well.
Yeah, that's basically what I
about
thought.
it.
Yeah, for the gameplay thing, that's basically what I thought too. And I don't know, like I don't always gravitate well to mobile games, so I do want it to like function quite easily, like especially for like new players, perhaps with the whole entire series, because as we're going into 4, there's probably still going to be a lot of people who might go into 4 without playing the other games, but there might be a lot of like mobile gamers out there. So as long as it's like easily functional and fun, then it could be really good to lead into 4 and stuff. And I really just want to find out a lot more about Brain as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to just explore so much more of Scala, because I feel like there's so much that we haven't seen yet, and it does fascinate me how the world does look a little bit different to what we've seen already. So just about the whole history, more about like how FMR brought everything together, maybe new characters even we can meet, and yeah, I just want to know so much more about Brain and Brain's other double as well.
I'm really excited for the story of this being a bit of a
Surprise.
mobile game lore loser. But yeah, I think the way they've been setting it up is really kind of elegant in a way, the way that Union Cross's finale ended, the way that Dark Road kind of wrapped up, and yeah, looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 4, the way they sort of linked up that Missing Link in Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer to sort of imply, like, obviously that saga connection that's running through them. I hope it exists. I hope it actually ends up coming out. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I am a little bit concerned where it's like, does Square Enix kind of see this huge pool of money that could be made from mobile games but arrive a little bit too late? You know, in Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, it's like, Battle Royale, cool, let's get it into production. And it's dead. All right, cool, we missed the boat on that entirely. Mobile gamers have already got their mobile Battle Royale. It's called Fortnite, then it's not going anywhere. So they can't be playing 2 at the same time. They're not going to pick up a new one with a smaller, shrinking fan base by the minute. Now they're doing the same thing. Oh, cool, Pokemon Go is this gigantic, multi-million-dollar app. Let's do our kind of thing on it. And I don't know, Niantic, the company that makes Pokemon Go, can't seem to make a second successful version of that same app. And they already have the architecture already in existence. So is Square Enix going to be able to do the same thing and somehow make a huge... I mean, for selfish reasons, I'd like them to. I want to make some more videos, make some... get some easy views there. Okay. But will it happen? Will it be successful, long-running enough to sustain, go through Kingdom Hearts 4 like you were saying? Hope so.
Well, that was their plan for Dark Road, and look how well that went.
Exactly, yeah. 3 chapters and
then a movie.
I mean, essentially just agreeing with everyone else. I'm the same as Faye. Like, I'm not huge into mobile games, so I hope that combat and everything is, like, kind of easy to pick up and all of that kind of stuff, because I definitely will play it, especially seeing how Union Cross went. Everyone thought, oh, it's a mobile game, it's not going to be important at all, and then you watch the videos, watch Damo's video. Fandoms. I was watching it this morning trying to catch up again. But knowing how important they're going to be, and along the same lines with Brain, like, I think just also seeing how those unions are formed as well, because that was their mission, was to go forward and create their own unions and continue on. So I'm very interested to see kind of just how that all plays out more.
Yeah, we hope it's a success. It would be nice, but I hope that even if it doesn't work out, obviously Nomura has a vision, so we'll get those cutscenes, we'll get that story, but, for the sake of the series, you'd like for it to be at least somewhat successful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But just hopefully not to the point that it takes over the series. But another conversation for another day. So, we talked a lot about the things that we like. What needs to change? What needs to change in Kingdom Hearts moving forward? What would you like to see them leave behind? This can be anything gameplay-wise. This can be anything story-wise. It doesn't have to be something left behind. What do you want to see change? Maybe there's a character you want to see brought to the forefront more. What do you think Kingdom Hearts needs to change the most? By the way, I didn't give them any of these questions leading into this, so give them a lot of credit for answering all this on the spot.
I'll go. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say maybe like there's been so much like positivity and everyone always likes to go so much into Sora is always so positive about everything. Just kind of, and I think where he is now, we're gonna start seeing a different side of Sora, and I think that will be really good. Like starting to kind of build out his character more. There's more to him than just, hey, I walked up and I found you and you are now my friend. So I think we're just going to get, more of that, I hope, like kind of explore a little bit deeper into those kind of emotions and stuff.
I'll say mine. So, first half of the sentence is going to sound bad, but please hear me out. Less Disney worlds. More focus on the Disney cast. I'm fine with trading in a couple Disney worlds if it means Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Yen, Sid, Fairy Godmother, Merlin, Maleficent, Pete. If all of them get more focus and attention at the cost of 1 or 2 Disney worlds, I think that's more than worth it. Disney is obviously an integral part of Kingdom Hearts' identity. There's no getting rid of it. But I think there's other ways to make Disney important rather than having us travel to all these worlds. Give us playable Mickey, Donald, Goofy segment. Give us a Maleficent backstory. How did she become so aware of everything going on outside of Enchanted Dominion? Give us more of that, and maybe, maybe we don't have to go through Pirates 3.
That's kind of where my answer was going. I was going to say, kind of exactly what you said, like a lot of focus on Disney characters, but I also want a lot of focus on the original characters as well. I would just love to see more. It's like, I want to see this. It's hard to critique in a way your favorite series of all time when you love it so much, but there's always ways for improvement, of course. So I think my thing that I'd want the most is, I think it's something particularly that 2 did really right, is the sort of scenes where you saw a lot of Axel and Naminé, and just sort of, it'd be cool to interact with the side characters of 4, and then perhaps maybe get another days or Birth by Sleep with some new characters. But just during the whole story of Sora and 4 and Disney, just have moments where other characters are quite heavily involved, and maybe they join your party temporarily for a bit, or the party can maybe change in a way. So at some point you're having a party with Strelitzia, and then later on perhaps you're teaming up with Luxord or something. So just a bit of a switch up from, not too much, because I love Kingdom Hearts so much. Again, it's hard to want too much to change. Of course, you can criticize
it. Yeah. Not going to get you shot. No. You'll be okay.
Don't hate me, Nomura, please. But no, I think it'd be cool to switch up a little bit of the dynamic of Sora's interaction with the original characters a bit, and see more, and maybe, like I said, have them as party members or something a bit more.
It's going to be another combat answer. I'm sorry.
That's what you're here for.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that Kingdom Hearts does really well is really creative gameplay mechanics. But I think what tends to happen is they're so focused on being creative, they don't necessarily innovate or expand upon the mechanics that they create. Right, with drive forms, right? Those are really cool. And I feel like form changes are very different, right? It still changes up the gameplay, but it's a very different system. And with adding attraction flow or adding flow motion, right? There's all these really cool things, and they'll subtly tweak them as they continue throughout the games. But the combat, the base combat, has always kind of stayed the same, right? A very much there's a meme why it's mash X to win, right? Because it's very much bare bones kind of action combat. And I think playing stuff like Final Fantasy 16 or I'm trying to think of other action games I've played lately. I don't know. Mostly 16, right? There was a lot of DMC level combat. It was still very basic DMC combat. But I would love to see some really like complex combos in Cage 4. Because I think Cage 2 really like started to build on that, right? With with your like square combo modifiers. And you could do some incredible stuff, right? Like you could do a whole full combo, and if you had a combo finisher plus on, right, like you could do a combo modifier, shift into the air, and keep going. And I think they almost like shifted backwards and kind of like staying safe with the system. So I'd love to see like some complexity with Cage 4. I know that's crazy, right? If you know me, I like always love Cage 3.
I think I was thinking it'd be in their best interest not to try and explain in their own quick, wrap it up in one single cutscene way everything that's come before. Like if they're going to establish a brand new saga, maybe it's for the best, though it pains me to just be like, all right, here's a couple of things you need to know, but we're not going to bother wasting your time with, hey, here's everything that happened from Kingdom Hearts 1 all the way through to 3, not even a remind. Just give people a bit of information, because that's the common critique, right? It's always I don't understand what's going on, and they're trying to explain it, and there's a Xehanort and he's time traveling, and just let people walk in semi-fresh, I guess semi-restart the story enough to the point where new players can come in whilst satisfying the ones that, have been with the series for a long time or relatively recently, but have played all the games. Yeah, just
I get a lot of
simplify
vibes of Cage 2's opening for Cage 4.
Mm.
Like I feel very much like Sora and Strelitzia are going to be like a lot of people, most of us don't really even know Strelitzia enough to like know what her character is. And so seeing her, except for you, but kind of having Sora like waking up in this new world and kind of having to navigate that while also like learning about this other character. If you've played all the games, right, and if you watched all of Dama's videos, you'll have some of those callbacks to Union Cross and Strelitzia's character, but it'll still feel fresh enough, kind of like with Roxas.
That's what 2 does really well, right? 2, if you didn't play Chain of Memories, then you wake up as Sora and you, the player, are like an avatar very analogous, like similar to Sora, where you wake up and you're very confused and everyone around you seems to know what's going on, but you can follow it pretty fine. Like you kind of learn with Sora what's going on, and you get that really cool opening cutscene that does a pretty good job of explaining, okay, Sora was circling up some sort of tower fighting these dudes in this white castle. Okay, cool. That's all the information I get. All right, cool. But it's fine because Sora doesn't know that either. It's like what you're saying. If he wakes up in this strange world and Strelitzia's explaining to him, you've arrived in here, it's sort of like an afterworld, you've been asleep for 7 days. If a new player walks in and goes, okay, they don't necessarily need the context, but Sora doesn't have it either. So you're back to being with him in terms of,
It's something that kind of happens with these long-running franchises where like there's so much stuff that is normal for Kingdom Hearts, right? Like we have the same combat, we have these same characters, we have these same story beats, and so it's almost like they've built up so much that like it's almost scary or like kind of like threatening for the brand if they try something new. But I really hope that they do.
Yeah, I wanted to agree about the whole prologue thing. I think it would be cool in a way if like 4 did have like a prologue to begin with, where it could be like, it could even be Strelitzia. I didn't even think about that until just now, because I've always thought maybe we'd even get like a Yuzora prologue or something. But if it was Strelitzia, that'd be very interesting, because it can sort of answer some questions of Union Cross and sort of link some parts of the story to that, to 4, to give new players who might not have played Union Cross a bit of a more understanding, not deeply, but because you obviously have to explore Union Cross for the full understanding of it, but enough to grasp that, this is part of what's going to unfold in a way. So, yeah, I think.
I'm still hoping the prologue is going to be Kairi training with Aqua.
I was just going to say that.
I know you could work with that too, because then, Kairi obviously feels guilty that she wasn't ready to go. And you can kind of explore that. And if a new player comes in through Kairi's guilt, you can kind of get the idea of what's going on with Sora, how that happened to him, and everybody's plan to bring him back.
Well, and with Cage 2, I think what they do really well is with Roxas, right? They actually mirror Cage 1's combat with Roxas. And so if you are playing Cage 1 and then you go right into Cage 2, right, it's very familiar, right? And then all of a sudden, like, he unlocks a second Keyblade and you're like, 2? And then, right, the combat completely shifts, right? It shifts into this, like, fluid system of Cage 2. And I really that's why I want like a Kairi training arc, because I feel like they could use her combat from 3, and then subtly start bringing in a lot of the mechanics for Cage 4 and teaching you of like, okay, this is what we've played as Cage 3, right? Like I'm familiar with this. And then now we're adding things that shift the combat. But we'll see.
I mean, I definitely agree, and I think the idea of the Kairi Aqua prologue could be really good. Like you can, I feel like Kairi could kind of go through why she's doing this, why she's learning and training and everything, and that can kind of be your going back into time and kind of reviewing what happened throughout. That you're going through Kairi's memories and what occurred. Why is she so powerful to fight for this?
Yeah, I would love it. So we're moving into a new saga, a new arc. And for the Dark Seeker saga, darkness pretty much was our enemy. Putting it bluntly. Obviously, it's more detailed than that, but darkness is what we were fighting. To me, it looks like we're moving into an era now where it's not that darkness is the enemy or that light is the enemy. It's almost like the war between darkness and light has become the enemy itself. Because you have the true ancient darknesses, right? And then you have the Master of Masters who's trying to, defeat them, encase them within hearts of pure light, give the darkness form, and eliminate the darkness. I don't see our cast vibing with either one of those options. So my question would be, who do you think is the bigger threat moving forward? Is it the Master of Masters who, in a sense, is advocating on the side of light? Or is it the true darknesses advocating on the side of darkness? Who do you guys think is going to be the bigger threat in this new arc?
So part of me doesn't think either is the bigger threat. I think that and maybe this is like extrapolating off of nothing, but going back to the idea I was talking about before, before it was very much like light and darkness, very opposite, very absolute. And then we're shifting to this, it's two sides of the same coin thing. But I almost think in trying to fight back, right, during that struggle, we're going to shift more back towards that absolute thing, which I don't think is healthy, right? And so I almost think that Sora and his whole journey and the Guardians fighting against it is going to be the threat of we're going to push back to the old, these are the absolutes. So.
I feel like it's probably going to start with darkness, but then throughout the saga it will turn to light. Because obviously we're dealing with the true darknesses, and they're also probably going to be our enemy to a degree, but also it's currently the Master of Masters' enemy. And maybe, I don't know if the Master of Masters might manipulate Sora in a way to have this sort of direction where they are sort of our main focus for the saga, but then the consequences of that can then switch, and then we're then dealing with the consequences under the enemies of perhaps light. So I feel like it's kind of on the same moment where it's neither, it's also both. And I think it could start off where we do end eventually to defeat the true darkness some way through the saga, but then there's another problem, Master of Masters, and that section of the whole light arc. So I think we're going to go into this sort of era of maybe both, and I think it will probably end with this question of is the side of light actually can it be that good, or can it be used for destruction and stuff? So that's my theory.
I'll give you one. I'll just say real quick, play Final Fantasy 14. There's some similarities. Just saying. Just play Shadowbringers, please.
I'm still on a Realm Reborn.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, obviously we've got the Kingdom Hearts 3 epilogue where they're beginning this new game, and we've got these, these 7 black pieces in the back which have the emblems and foretellers on them, and this, one light piece comes down. So it's implying the next saga is going to have this, light-based protagonist going up against these potentially, vessels for the 7 darknesses. So if that's the Master of Masters plan, that's well and good, but Sora might even be agreeable to that initially. I don't necessarily want to take out these guys who are just following orders, who don't themselves probably want to be vessels, but if, let's say, Sora's hand is forced, maybe they do bad things in the name of the light to be defeated. The light itself could be doing villainous things for the greater good, but that's still seen as villainous. Even if Sora agrees to all of that, we've taken out all 7 of these pure darknesses in the foreteller vessels. Ven is a vessel for one of the 13 darknesses right now. So what happens when the master goes, cool, all right, you've taken out the 7 I wanted you to. What about this guy? Let's go get him now. Like, at some point, Sora's going to go, oh, hang on. Even if he's agreeable at the start, even if it's Sora is the one that's dispassionate, let's say, maybe not, but at some point he's going to have to confront that notion of, okay, maybe we can't just be purely, it's Riku's entire journey, right? Like, we can't just be purely loyal to one or the other. There is room for nuance, and there's room to see both sides of this thing. You can't just be black and white, light and darkness. So.
Well, it makes me wonder, in the way that Sora was able to see the heart in the nobodies, was able to see the nobodies as people, I almost wonder if he's going to do the same thing with the darknesses.
He's already screamed out to Vanitas, like...
Yeah, exactly. Why won't you stand by our side? Yeah.
It doesn't seem to,
I was just going to say, similar. I feel like it's going to be kind of a bit of both. I mean, we've always talked about there's a balance. You can't have one without the other. So if we go too far of getting rid of darkness and there's only light, now is that too bad? You got to kind of go back and forth maybe even. That you got to keep it balanced throughout until, there's some kind of actual solution.
Okay. Guys, how much time we got? 20. Got a 20? Okay, we got 20. All right, so let me ask you guys this. No, maybe not. Maybe I should save that one for another time. You know something, guys? Can we take questions from the audience? All right, let's do that. Who's got questions for the panel? Anybody? Treehouse, what's up?
Of course.
Speak loud.
Big fans.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you guys think they're going to make reference in Kingdom Hearts 4 for Sora being Smash, like maybe platform.
Okay, so Treehouse is asking if there will be a Smash reference in KH4. How are we feeling about that?
Smash has to be canonical, right?
I was going to say.
It has to be.
Is it going to be a dream when he was sleeping?
Yeah,
will he have dreamt
He's
it?
going to be like, who the heck was this Mario character with the weird mustache and the red hat? Yeah. I beat him up, though. I got him. Don't worry about it.
That could be so funny because, maybe that's I know there's been theories that the whole Sora and Smash is maybe for Chain of Memories. I don't really know 100%, but it would be funny if he was waking up and then he had a dream he was fighting, but then he walks around Quadratum and there's a billboard. It doesn't have to be Smash, but it could be something very similar to it, perhaps. Just a little
He just sees Banjo-Kazooie. He's like, I know that guy.
It's actually it's gonna be a Game Central Station where he walks in. He's like, oh hey, Smash.
Yeah.
Or it's not even an actual reference. It's just one of the closed off sections is just Smash.
Or imagine he sees a Smash poster, but Yozora's there instead of him. And he's like, wait a minute.
It's going to be a mini game. You can just play it as a mini game.
Yeah, just opens up Smash.
In Game Central Station, you can just play Smash as a mini game. Yeah.
You in the back, sir.
So, maybe not just Kingdom Hearts 4, but in the future, how would you like to see Final Fantasy come back in Kingdom Hearts?
Okay, so he's asking, I'm just going to repeat it because I'm not sure the mics are going to pick him up. So what he's asking is, how do we see Final Fantasy tie back into Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, what kind of characters or concepts that are Final Fantasy that haven't been in Kingdom Hearts yet?
Ooh.
I have an answer for this.
Oh, it's all you, Faye.
Yeah.
So I personally would love to see different Final Fantasy characters that we haven't seen before in the saga. I would absolutely love it if we had a sort of alternate restoration committee. So we had Barrett, we had Renoa perhaps, obviously Renoa being Leon Squall. Team Leon, Team Squall, whatever. Love interest and maybe Lightning. Just a few different Final Fantasy characters that we haven't seen before because obviously we're in a different world. So would it make sense in a way to see Leon, Aerith, Yuffie? Maybe it would be more interesting to see these other ones. And you've also got the relationship with Yozora and the Nameless Star and how they're separated. And I think in my own little fantasy headcanon, it could be kind of cool if maybe there was a connection where, I don't know, Renoa maybe remembers Squall or something. I don't know, but I would just love the idea of seeing new characters that we haven't seen before. That's just something that I personally want.
Or Yozora has his own tag team of all his Final Fantasy characters.
Oh, he's got his crew.
Yeah, right.
Nothing else? We're good?
They said it wrong.
Okay. You, sir.
Aside from fantasy, what are the square properties would you like to see?
World ends with you. Come on. So he's asking, I got ahead of myself. He's asking what other square properties we like to see. Anybody else? Anybody want near?
I was gonna say
Mainly for bio.
Oh no.
Because you were talking about you wanted to see for the combat and talking about more intricate combos. I know the Osaka team did some work on Final Fantasy 16, so I was wondering if you wanted to see some of what they brought from Final Fantasy 16 in terms of combos and the intricate.
Yeah, I was really worried you were gonna ask about plain donuts. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just repeat this question, if you would.
Yes. What kind of so Osaka team worked on some of 16, and so he was asking what do you hope they bring over with that? I would love to see something that doesn't impact the combat so much as as you get more into the combat, you're able to pull off some really cool combos. Right. So in 16, a lot of it is very freeform. And so you don't have to use your launchers, right? You don't have to use your down thrust or things that chain your combos together are things that you don't really necessarily need to use. And so I'd love to see more combo modifiers or things that kind of give you a little bit more agency over the combat flow, right? A lot of times with combat, the most important thing is okay, how do I make this feel good, but also keep the combat flowing, right? For Kingdom Hearts, a lot of times you'll do your combo, right? And then there's a little bit of end lag or some time before you can start your next combo. And so having stuff that you can either dodge out of, right? And then you can go right into your next combo, or just things that you can use to shift combat into the air or shift things like that. But I'll stop talking.
Kyrie.
Let's.
Seeger, friend or foe? I'm going to go foe. I think he's playing the long game. Sometimes I wonder if he's a parallel to Luke Sword or if he's Luke Sword in disguise all over again. But I think he's playing the long game, and I think foe. How's the panel feel?
I'll have to watch the cutscenes again and watch Damo's interpretation of it. So I can
We're
actually
just gonna keep playing Damo's videos, make sure that you watch Damo's fandom videos.
Yeah, watch time on, folks. I really hate long videos.
I kind of think, I don't know, I'm in two minds. I think either foe, because I feel like Master of Masters isn't going to be the villain he'll be fighting for. I think Master of Masters is end game. So I think there's got to be some villains beforehand, and I think Seago probably could be the potential candidate for that. But if it is a Luke Sword parallel, then maybe it's a friend. So I'm kind of torn, but I don't know. I'm sort of leaning more towards foe for now.
I'm in so many minds about Sigurd. He initially greets Brain, and he seems very friendly, and the music clues you in that this is a good thing, or mysterious but kind of good thing that's happening as it gets to the very end of Union Cross. And he has a sort of reverence for Master Ephemera, and he kind of presents Brain with a statue, and this whole society based around seemingly what Ephemera might have wanted. So in theory, that's a good thing. Then you have the Missing Link trailer come along. You see that whoever is holding this no-name Keyblade kind of covers it up. And so it's this time period that may not necessarily be seen by the Book of Prophecies.
The unwritten era.
He's right, exactly, precisely, yeah. And you see the box art for it, or the cover art for it, and it's so mysterious and shadowy, and it's okay, what does this mean? Does it mean that there are multiple organizations running against each other, maybe interpreting the Book of Prophecies in their own ways, or lying about it, if there's one copy of it? And you can tell people, oh, we have the copy, but you can't see it, but this is what it says. So go along with what we're saying. If Sigurd is part of this organization, is that a benevolent one, or is that some sort of antagonistic one? I don't know. I think it's completely up in the air right now, which I'm excited for. It's really cool going into Kingdom Hearts 4 and future titles without the roadmap already laid out of since, DDD's opening, since Birth by Sleep's blank points cutscene going, Sora's going to rescue all these people, and now you got to wait a decade to do it. Everything going forward seems to be completely mysterious, and I am 100% here for it. Really can't wait.
I really need to watch your Dark Red videos again. I don't remember any of it.
I was going to say, I need to review the videos before I give a proper answer for that.
You, Violet, don't turn around. You.
Based just on aesthetics only, who do you want to see in the new quadratum art style?
So based on aesthetics, who do we want to see in the quadratum art style?
Goofy.
Goofy. I mean, I'd like to see Aqua. I think she looked really cool, personally. How about you guys?
I was gonna say Riku or Kairi. Yeah, Riku or Kairi. I just, especially Kairi. I think I just want to see glow up.
Maybe like Brain or Ephemer. Like, I think I'd like to see more of the Union Cross characters in that quadratum. Or Sora. I think Sora would be cool. I don't think we've seen him yet.
We haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, I was thinking, of course, Aqua. I always want to see Aqua. Or Kairi. I think Riku will look really cool in that aesthetic as well.
I joked, but like now thinking about it, like what would Pluto look like? Would Pluto be a real dog? And same, I guess, with all the other Disney characters. Like
Donald and
we are-
Goofy gonna get the pirates treatment with the
like hyper-realistic and just awful, uncanny valley. Yeah.
What is that annoying duck switch game?
Donald.
There's that game where like you're like two ducks and you like terrorize people.
Untitled Goose.
Yeah, that one. that's what Donald turns into.
Oh, we have some chat.
Game is in chat.
There we go. Hi. Question from chat. I have 5 of them, then we'll wrap. Do you guys want either form changes or Keyblade transformations to return in the future of the series?
Neither. I want something new.
Yeah. I want a more, what's the word? I want both kind of formed together but with something new, right? Like I already talked about that build system. And I think Kingdom Hearts 3 tried really hard to keep the idea of drive forms going forward, where each of the form changes, if you don't know, have like a drive, quote unquote, attached to it, right? Some of them have element form, some of them have strike form, and all those have like special abilities that you can use throughout the form changes. So I'd like to see something a bit more like kind of unpacking that and making that more useful. While also being Final Fantasy jobs.
Do you think we'll get more references to either Versus 13 or even Final Fantasy 15 in KH4?
Yes.
Next question.
I would say no 15, but plenty of Versus 13.
Yeah. I would almost say, don't even get me started, but like...
Well, you're here to get started. What are you talking about?
It's 20 minutes left. That was a while ago. No, like... it's the idea of... Okay, a little bit of nonsense. We have these fictional characters, right? We're literally entering a world of unreality and of fiction. And so you have this Noctis-esque figure that kind of didn't get to exist, and this unnamed star that didn't get to exist. And it's like, okay, are these the Versus 13 kind of Noctis and Stella that got kind of pushed aside? I don't know, just I had this thought the other day of like, what if they got to meet the actual, like, let's say Noctis and Luna that did get to exist? And what would that kind of look like? Like, you've got these fictional characters that, in theory, a fictional character gets to live on in people's hearts forever, right? Like, you tell a story once, and if it's a good enough piece of media, it can live on forever. A 20-year-old game can draw a crowd of people together, you know, decades later, just to celebrate their enjoyment of it. But original Versus 13 Noctis kind of had that literally stolen from him. Didn't have that choice. He was literally replaced in people's minds by the 15 version. It's a weird fate for a fictional character to have. And they might want to fight for their right to get that back until they have to confront the original. I don't know. The Soul Yozora, and also looking like Rika nonsense. Yeah, it's like, don't get me started.
Are there any specific Kingdom Hearts character interactions you'd like to see in the future? Like Terra and Riku, or Kairi and Shion?
Lorium and Elrena. Yeah. I say this all the time. I sound like a broken record to my friends. I want to see them fight and argue. I just want to see it get heated between the two of them. They've been through a lot. Larxene obviously has a thing for Marluxia, but Marluxia acts like he doesn't even care. And I want to see her get spicy about that.
He's probably so focused on his sister. He's like, he doesn't even.
Yeah.
Not like that. I mean, like to get. But so focused on getting her back that he doesn't like pick up on, the chemistry.
That's something I really want to is Laurium or Renna, just more happening for them.
I want to see Laurium and Ven in modern day. Like, finally getting to actually, do they recognize each other now? Probably. Like, let's pay that off.
Well, Ventus and Roxas, like, we get the one head nod. But like, I want to see them like talk about like, you look really familiar. Like, I'd love to see more of that.
I want to see Isa and Axel.
Ooh, yeah.
Either way, whatever he's going by now, he keeps flipping. But I think I want to see those two together more. Like, we got a little bit of their friendship and everything, and then you got to see that last little scene. I'm like, oh my god, they're together again. And I think it could be really, really sweet. So I want to see those two.
Would you like to see a more populated Scala at Kylum in Kingdom Hearts 4?
Yes.
In Missing Link.
Yeah, I was gonna say Missing Link.
Yeah, in Missing Link, definitely.
Let me expand on that. Who do you want to see there?
In Missing Link? Ava. Tell me that's where she is.
Yeah.
Tell me she made it there and she's the one Sigurd's on the phone with. She's at the head of somewhere. I would love to see that. I want to see more about what Ava's... Obviously, we know what Ava's mission was, but I want to see her carry it out. I just don't want Lucian to tell me it at the end.
I'm going to add one from Andy Brew, who's gaming the system in Twitch chat. I like this question. What secret boss do you want to see in Kingdom Hearts 4?
Sephiroth.
Bahamut.
Ooh, I was going to say one of the icons.
One of the icons, yeah.
Yeah, those would be fun.
Sora. I want to fight Sora. Like, I want to have like some either like alternate, not use Sora, but like I want to like fight Sora. That'd be cool.
I've always kind of wanted that too, actually, for a moment to Sora to just kind of similar like Aqua when she sort of fights herself. It would be cool for Sora to go through that too, because with all that the sort of growth and emotions and stuff that's changing within him, it would be really cool for him to do that. But I know it's kind of like a relevant answer, but I think Vanitas in a way would be a really good like boss to fight as Sora. And it would be secret. Maybe like Vanitas doesn't have such a huge role in 4, but then all of a sudden we're fighting him because like Vanitas still has his own agenda going on at the moment. So yeah, I think Vanitas in a way could be quite cool.
It's like a lightning fight.
Okay, lightning fight. Okay.
Why not? We're going crazy.
I just realized that Lightning, I don't know if you guys knew, there was like this promotional thing, quote unquote, where Lightning was supposed to be in Dream Drop Distance, which was fake. And there was a whole like DeviantArt like Photoshop that I never knew was a DeviantArt Photoshop. And so I'm like, I just played Final Fantasy 13. I was like, yeah, you guys knew like Lightning was in like supposed to be in Kingdom Hearts, and everyone was like, well, what are you talking about?
Okay, I'm not part of the panel, but I want to say I want to fight Darth Vader.
I always had this idea of like, I want to see like darkness in front of Sora, and you see like Darth Vader's lightsaber turn on, and Sora's first thought is Xemnas, and then he like walks out. Like that would be so cool.
Do you know what I'd honestly like love as well? Like I would love like if we throughout like each game throughout the saga, if we like fought one of the 4 tellers per game, so it like sort of like broke it down a little bit. So like one game we're fighting Gula, the next game we're sort of dealing with the Zed. Like it just sort of like breaks down like that, or it's like a thing where at the end they're like data battles. That'd be pretty cool to fight the 4 tellers as data battles would be pretty sick.
Okay, I think we got time for one more.
From the crowd or from the chat?
I think we got this question from both. What worlds or new characters do you want to see in Kingdom Hearts 4?
Coco. Thought about that one, especially exploring the theme of death. I feel like that could be a very plausible world that they go to try to figure out more. And when I was talking last night, someone brought up, I'm like, how great would it be to see Donald and Goofy as skeleton form?
I really want to see Inside Out. If you guys, yeah. I realized as I made the Psychology of Sora video that I didn't put that in there because it originally started, me and Thought Bubble originally halfway through production of it were like, oh, let's make this about Cage 4 and why we want to see Inside Out as a world. And then we wrote all the psychology bits and we were kind of shoving in Inside Out segments at the ends of everything. And then we're like, doesn't really fit, let's scrap that. But then I realized that there's no mention of that in the video. But yeah, I have a whole idea of why Inside Out would be so good for Sora's character. If you haven't seen Inside Out, right, it's all about emotions in Riley's head. And the one that runs Riley is joy, right? And so it's always happy, always got to be excited. And we can't ever have sadness because sadness is bad. And so it's this journey of as she is maturing, right, her emotions are maturing, and she's realizing that sadness is something that's good and helpful. And so having Sora kind of explore that and learn, oh, it's okay to be sad, or it's okay to, not always be happy. I have all these other emotions that are great indicators for me. Would be great.
I love that. My answer is Brave. I really, really want Brave. I love Brave so much. I think Merida would just be a really, really, really great party member to have. And I think the actual area of Dunbrook would be a very cool world to explore, because apart from as mentioned earlier, Enchanted Dominion, we haven't really had a world that feels I guess medieval and castle-like. So it would be good to sort of explore a world like that. And I think if you guys have seen Brave, the theme of Brave is fate. So that's quite common within the series. And I think that's something that Sora's probably going to want to change. And that's something that Merida ends up doing in the film itself. So I think the link between that Disney film and the world, and also the character of Sora and Kingdom Hearts in general, will just be a really perfect fit for 4. So that's my answer for that.
I feel like Moana is a really, really, really good fit. Obviously, you got the beach aesthetic, and if Sora is the playable character at this point in time, he gets clearly in his zone. The themes of the entire movie, I think, fit really well with where the series is going right now. Lilo and Stitch World would be very, very cool, but maybe they'd have to fight for the beach world, the Cage World.
We got time for one more from the audience?
Ooh, Treasure Planet 2 would be a good world.
Young lady in the back.
So since it was brought up earlier, and I like to ask this about people, what do you think, or how do you think the sort of wild card game for is going to play out in the future of the series? Because you were talking about kind of parallels with Sigurd earlier, and what his overall thing is. How do you think the wild card game will matter?
So the question is, the wild card Luke Sword gave to Sora at Cage 3, how do we see it coming into fruition in the future, Kingdom Hearts 4, whatever it may be? Shoot!
I mean, it could be so many things, right? I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is it's some sort of Luke Sword medium for him to, if Sora hangs on to this, wherever Sora goes, Luke Sword can potentially himself travel there. And if you guys have watched the stand up, shout out to all the amazing voice actors that helped out, but I ended up having Sigurd be played as someone, and we kind of did a Luke Swordy kind of vibe to him, thinking that there was some sort of link potentially between those guys. So yeah, if Luke Sword does end up being linked into that organization that Sigurd is a part of, obviously we see he's potentially a limo driver now. But yeah, I would, easy answer, it's a medium for him to travel to wherever Sora is going to go to.
Well, I think if it's not him himself, I think you're onto something, because if we look at the way Luke Sword uses his cards, he trapped Mickey in them, he encases himself in them, he uses them in a way where he can put a vessel, a person, into the card and then summon them out. So whether it be him, I know I just said Bahamut before, I think it'd be cool if the wild card that turned the tables, if Sora just pulls out Bahamut. And someone brought up how FF16 gameplay can come in. Imagine playing as Bahamut fighting one of the Gigas in Quadrado. Wouldn't that be nuts?
That would be so cool.
Did any of you guys play Type 0, FF Type 0?
Slightly.
So you have one of the primary characters that essentially wields this deck of cards, and the way that the plot of that game, I won't spoil it for you, but there's a lot of Fabula Nova Crystal, it's links to that, and I don't know, okay, one little spoiler, but yeah, Daybreak Town's entire tower, or at least the stained glass artwork, appears straight up in one of the main rooms of one of the nations. So I don't know, Ace is cool, that's all I'm trying to say.
I feel like it could be cool, like, particularly in 4, if we see it in 4. And maybe it's like the final battle with, I don't know who the villain would be necessarily, but then you have the option triangle and it's wild card. And then you've got like a whole scene, and then you've got to then do something that relates to the wild card situation. Then that's it. 'Cause Luxord actually says you never know, it can turn the tables. So then it just drastically changes the narrative of the ending. And I think that might be a good way to actually do it. So
I love Luxord so much. Like, it's such a weird meta fight when you play against him, right? Like, he's one of the only guys where he's kind of playing Sora, but he's playing the player, playing the game at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like, you rotate the in-game camera to solve some of the puzzles, right? That's kind of weird, especially if we get into this whole like meta video game nonsense thing that we're going forward with. I don't know, I'm very excited to see what this.
Well, and it's not even like you're not even fighting him, right? It's like we're playing a game to see whose time runs out.
Which you can lose by not dying, a few times.
We up on time? We're good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending not only this podcast, but the whole event itself. If we could just have a round of applause for our guests up here on the stage. Again, we got BioRoxas, Felicia, Damo, and RoyalAqua. You can find them everywhere. You now know what they look like, so no excuse if you didn't. And if we can get one more round of applause for Guides, Mrs. Guides, and the whole committee.
Huge thank you to Landy for having us on.
I was going to say that.
Dude, of course.
thank you as always, Landy.
Don't thank me. I don't know. Anyway, we've got a cosplay event coming up after this, so make sure you all stick around. Guys, did I say that right? I'm good. Okay, thank you again, everybody.
Do you think you can change the future? All of this was decided. The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear.